The strategic foresight is basically a topic in connection still to the strategic planning, since it is a sequence of methodology in order to fulfill the main goal, which is to formulate or produce a good plan in respect to any organization or agency. So first concept of the strategic foresight is the horizon scanning. Horizon scanning is basically a systematic monitoring and analysis of the current trends, or kumbaga kung unsa ang mga modern day or current nga solutions or innovations nga ginabuhat, not just in one organization but in different fields. An organization can basically adapt to it if it has a better impact towards the goal. So it helps the organization also to better navigate if ever na ay mga upcoming uncertainties, or along the way the process of implementing its goals there could be some changes. And at the same time, horizon scanning can help enhance the resilience of the agency, its capacity to adapt. So that's the first one. So another one is the scenario planning, where the agency will conduct or develop different kinds of scenarios or situations in order to somehow predict or somehow identify future problems. Also for the organization to identify trigger points along the way on the process of implementing its plan. So same with what is horizon scanning could do. It will also help the agency and identify what are the probable outcomes of their plans or implementations, the probable situations that would happen. So scenario planning will help the agency in that way. So another one is the trend analysis. So in an organization, business-wise, there should always be a certain competitive aspect or competitive strength of a business or an organization per se. So trend analysis can help in a way that the current market may be the current market or the current niche of the nature of their business could be better compared to the existing organization, or the current methods or techniques could be better, so it could be adapted, and it will help the agency or organization maintain its competitiveness or its competitive capacity. So trend analysis. So next one is the backcasting. Backcasting is a method or a technique made for organizations that it simply starts with the end goal, and kumbaga mura siya og reverse engineering. So backcasting will start with its goal and will identify the steps on how to reach that goal one by one. So what are the creative solutions that should be done in order to reach that goal? So there is an advantage in a way that you've already mapped out your plans as an organization, and in that case the future is more eminent or more highly favorable to the organization, since you have anticipated or you have used the technique, which is the backcasting. So the members of the organization can be more aware or can be more anticipating of what might come, either good or bad, for the organization to manage and adjust. So another concept here is the stakeholder engagement, which leverages towards the external partners of the organizations, mainly the benefactors, could be the society, the clients, the partnering agency. So when you engage, or when an organization engage with its partners, it will add motivation to the organization, since it is an ecosystem, or it is a coexistence of different organizations or entities in order to reach your goal. So it is a great factor, kumbaga, to have engagement from your stakeholders, your benefactors, your clients. When you have your employees, you get them involved in the improvisation or in the improvement of the system. On how do they think, if the agency is still has still a lot of aspects to work on their point of view, not just the employees, the managers, or the other partnering government agencies. So it will also develop more well thought or well informed decisions during the planning. So these stakeholders will greatly contribute in the planning phase, or along the execution of our plans. When you check with the stakeholders, they can be treated as a feedback mechanism if our plans did well or not. So these external stakeholders will be a very big factor. So in systems thinking, we have our different roles in the organization, and so during planning, there should always be an awareness of how the organization works from different directions, in and out, or outwards to inwards, or inwards to outwards. So there should always be an awareness, not just as an individual but also as a group or as an agency when you say systems thinking. So now that we have this different members or different roles, there it can be the check and balance will be developed. There can be a greater improvement on the side of the on the internally, not just internally but also externally na dayon. So sa wildcard, the members of the organizations will conduct a certain implementation where they study the certain scenarios or certain factors along the process of executing their plans, or there are factors that has a high impact but low probability. The wild card, though, may not happen in a greater chance, but will have a great impact. For example, in the COVID situation, it was totally unexpected, and the government was not on its everyone was flat-footed, even the first world country. So I think a good example is the COVID situation, where everyone was not expecting it totally, and it can be coined as a wild card scenario or happening. So another key concept discussed earlier is the strategic planning, where members of the organization will map out its strategies and methodologies in order to attain their goals. So key steps in strategic foresight, starting with defining the scope. So when you define the scope, you identify the focus, or which areas are you going to make a plan of, or make the goal specifically. So identify what's the focus, and identify which certain field or specialty your organization is, and also the challenges. So you set the specific goal. So that's the first step. So the second step is to gather data. So when you collect data, you specify the methods on how to collect data, may it be quanti or quali. So also the emerging trends or the emerging technology, and also in respect to the social changes. Also in the data gathering, we use different scope or different fields, such as media research, and may it be statistics, existing statistics, or produced statistics made by the agency or organization. So next step is to identify the key drivers and uncertainties. By identifying the key drivers, we influence the current situation, may it be economical, political, or technological, since we first tackle the biggest factors that contribute to the changes of the current situation we're in, and how our agency or organizations will adapt to it. So we can also uncover the uncertainties that hides behind this the future. Could be the unknown knowns or the known unknowns, and vice versa. And okay, so the next step in Foresight is developing scenarios, which was discussed earlier, where we create situations, or we create a scenario based on the key drivers or key factors. So also we need to have this scenario should always be anchored towards our main objectives as an organization. So sometimes we use storytelling methods, and that could be relatable not just to the organization members but also to the stakeholders. Okay, so next step is to analyze implications. When we currently have our scenarios, there should always be an analysis or a review of how we evaluate the potential impacts of each scenario made, or we also consider the options that could arise in each scenario. Kumbaga, we now review what scenarios have we formulated, and in that part we analyze what could be the possible implications of the scenarios that we have developed. So the next step is to develop a strategic response. In developing strategic response, we identify we formulate how could we adjust in the current given scenarios, or how could we make a system in order to adapt to these developed scenarios, also based or also anchored in the implications that we have made earlier during the process. So we also identify flexible strategies that could adapt to different futures. We need to have a flexible methods in order to adapt unexpected scenarios. So the next step is the monitor and adapt. So when we monitor and adapt, we establish a certain system to monitor the trends along the way, and also the signals that was indicated along the execution of the plan that was made earlier in the process. So there could be some implications along the way that could help in improving our current existing system. So it should be monitored, and along the way there can be changes in the existing system or the processes in the organization. Then we could adapt as So next is when you communicate the findings along the way, the process of considering what were the reaction of the organization, both the members and the beneficiaries. There could always be a change. There could always be an adaptation. So when you communicate your findings internally, there should be a sharing of insights and scenarios. Then after that, execute adding up all the inputs, not just inside but also in the stakeholders. There could be a change, or there could be changes that should be communicated in and out of the organization. So review is to finally create a certain calendar for changes in the organization. So this is the part where the members of the organization will map out on how to improve their systems in according to its goals, which is, as discussed earlier, the SMART goals. So there should be a certain calendar or a certain checklist on how to adapt to the changes. At the same time, would not affect to the timeline or the goals per semester or per quarter of that certain year. So the last part is the revision. So after the long process of from designing the scope up to the review of what has transpired during the process, there is a revision of the existing strategies based on changes in the external and internal. So these are the steps in So moving forward with the key principles in the strategic foresight, first one is the inclusivity, where we engage in a range of stakeholders to gather various perspectives and insights, fostering creativity and a broader understanding of potential futures. So, as said earlier, it is important to know or to consider the inputs or the comments of our stakeholders, not just continuous improvement on the inner aspect or the internal aspect, but also taking into account the critics or the comments of the stakeholders outside, or the beneficiaries or the clients per se. So the long-term orientation, we focus on long-term implications and possibilities rather than immediate concerns. We also encourage forward-thinking mindset. So when we have a clear or a solid plan in a foresighting, the more sustainable approach could be more effective. So when it comes to sustainability, strategic foresight will really help us as an agency or as an organization to adapt and be sustainable and adjustable. So the journey towards the goal could be better and more comfortable when we have a sustainable approach or the long-term orientation. So another principle is the flexibility and adaptability. So as I said earlier, when we develop strategies that are flexible and can be adjusted in response to new information or changing circumstances. So as strategic foresight really focuses on flexibility and adaptability. So it is really helpful to be more anticipating in creating plans. So the core principles or the core concepts of strategic foresight is also anchored in flexibility and adaptability. So the fourth one is the uncertainty embrace. So we acknowledge and embrace the uncertainty as an inherent aspect of the future rather than trying to predict a single outcome. So here in the principle of uncertainty embrace, strategic foresight gives an idea that the future is already made in a way that the organization will not have a difficult time in adapting or adjusting towards what may happen in the future, since there is a structured plan or a flexible or an adaptable plan or framework of an organization. So the uncertain becomes certain and the future becomes clearer, and the work of the organizations will be more effective and efficient. So learning and reflection. So strategic foresight fosters a culture of continuous learning and reflection, allowing organizations to adapt and evolve based on new insights and experiences. So strategic foresight basically focuses on continuous learning, since there is a continuous evolution of systems or environment, not just in the industrial, economic, but also in nature itself. So the formulated solutions are already flexible enough to have sustainable solutions, not just in the current decade or current year. It could manage to adapt in the future. So I think that ends my discussion. Thank you so much.